East Davie Street.
Yeah. Haven't fought the kind of guys where it's like his guys were taking care of. Well, here's another. It would be okay. Because it's been written that way. It's been that way. That's been the pattern. That's been the script. You know?
At the light, turn right onto East Davie Street.
We get ready, we fight a guy, we win.
Quick question for you regarding the McCauley fight. What does this say about Michael Hunter's skill set? And Michael Hunter is like one of the nicest guys in the division. I really like him.
I always knew him. His father was a terrific fighter. He was a troubled guy, his father. He was very sad. But he was a terrific fighter, special in some ways. He beat a lot of good fighters. He was a small heavyweight. He beat heavyweights. He had a tragic ending.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto South Person Street.
Very sad. Michael had to deal with that. Michael came from that kind of background, overcame that. Michael was an Olympian. Michael was a very talented. I don't know that he's put it all together and gotten the most out of it. But he's a very, I think he fought a draw with Povetkin, who was my former fighter, who was a heavyweight champ of the world. I think he fought a draw with him. But Hunter is he's got good hand speed, he knows how to fight. He's a very talented guy. And obviously McCall has improved since then. Fighters do get better. And that's how, if I was talking to Anderson, I would say that. I said, this guy got stopped and look, he improved, he got to this place, he got his opportunity, and he made the most of it. You have the same opportunity to be on the same path. That you can take this any way you want to take it. You can take it.
At the light, turn left onto South Person Street.
And that's just a thing that you don't want to even think about, a thing that you're angry about, or you can take it as an opportunity to get better, an opportunity to correct things that need to be corrected, an opportunity to challenge yourself.
Oh, gosh, tired. The mother.
Bring out things in you that hadn't been brought out. It didn't have to be brought out because it was too easy. Now it's not too easy. That's what I would say to that young fighter. Anyway,
you were right. Michael Hunter had a draw. You were right against Povetkin, a draw against Jerry Forrest that I know was disappointing to him, and he lost to Alexander Usyk. Like I said, he's such a nice kid and gentleman. Every time I've spoken to him, I'm impressed with his kindness and his authenticity. Just seems like a good dude. Anyway, I was just curious what you thought.
like I said, he was a good fighter, and overcame a lot in life.
Alright, let's get on to the next fight here. Eastside Pitbull Cruz against
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto East Hargett Street.
Jose Valenzuela.
No, you're skipping.
I'm sorry. You're right. I've been dying to discuss this.
All right.
Andy Ruiz and Big Baby Miller fight to a majority draw. So much to discuss here. Second fight in like 5 years for Andy Ruiz. I would say this, and I know his people get very sensitive, but it just doesn't seem to me like Andy's that serious. Like, I think in his mind he wants to be that guy, but he just doesn't seem to conduct himself like that. And I like him. I mean, I hope he does well, but he just seems to show up and like...
Take the next left onto South Bloodworth Street, then turn right onto East Hargett Street.
Random times, he's not in the best shape. And obviously, Jarrell Miller has his own history and said, he was griping. I know what you said on Twitter, so I'm going to turn it over to you and talk to the decision, let you discuss the controversy. But it's interesting to hear Miller complain about the judges and how unfair things are.
Take the next right onto East Hargett Street, then your destination will be on the right.
Coming off is like...
Turn right on East Hargett Street, then pick up Hayden on the right.
second or third PED suspension. It's just very rich to complain about anything. The fact that he's still allowed to fight, and by all accounts, Jarrell Miller's a nice guy too. But the facts are the facts, and I don't know. This fight just had so many subplots and so many twists and turns.
Take the next left onto Southeast Street, then turn left onto Morrison Street.
Dying to hear your thoughts about the decision and the fight itself.
You could take this stance, and you wouldn't be really wrong. I'm not going to take it, but you could take the stance that you just touched on. That Miller shouldn't even be in the ring anymore. With all
You have arrived.
the times that he failed PED tests, all the times that, he's come up dirty, that believes in forgiveness. Yeah, he got more than one chance. He got more than two. He got more than three. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's pushing the envelope. But we are a country of compassionate people. We believe in second, sometimes third, maybe fourth chances. We believe in that. And we are a country that recognizes the great strength and happening of something called redemption. If you say, Teddy, you shouldn't defend the guy, I'm defending him in the way that he got in the ring. He was clean as far as we know, and he had a chance for redemption. He came in 30 pounds lighter than his last fight. For him, that's in shape. He was in shape. He can still get lighter, but he was in shape. He was in better shape than Ruiz. That's what was the difference. He was in better shape than Ruiz. He took a terrible beating with a big punch into Dubois, got stopped late in the fight, took an awful beating, came back. He got punished. He was punished where he lost out on possibly making. He's been punished.
Head west on East Hargett Street towards South Bloodworth Street.
Yes, Aiden, how you doing?
He has given a pound of flesh to a certain degree where it's ironic that these guys kind of switch places. That it's kind of like that movie, that with Dan Aykroyd and with
Head west on East Hargett Street towards South Bloodworth Street, then turn left onto South Bloodworth Street. In 800 feet, turn left onto South Blunt Street.
Eddie Murphy switching places.
Trading places.
It's trading places. It's funny because Miller was the guy who had the big fight, $5 million, whatever it was,
At the light, turn left onto South Blunt Street.
to fight Joshua in Madison Square Garden for the title. He comes up dirty. Ruiz steps in, couple week notice,
Continue on South Blunt Street for half a mile.
pulls off the upset, knocks out Joshua, gets $5 million, and then gets another huge payday. After that, maybe around $10 million, whatever, in a rematch. And then Ruiz, of course, blew that because he went up and waited for the rematch. He let the money
I
come
think
to
it
his
was
head.
13
He
million
went up
for
and
the
waited.
second fight in Saudi. It was astronomical amount. 5 for the first, 13 for the second, $18 million over the course of a year.
There's a lot of hamburgers. A lot of hamburgers. And at the end of the day, Ruiz stepped in, traded places, stepped in. He benefited. He did the job. Miller was on the out, looking in. He went through a few more suspensions. Looked like his career was over. In another sport, it probably would have been over. Boxing doesn't police itself. But he goes over.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
He fights Dubois. Dubois gets redemption for his bad showings against Joyce, where he gave in, against Usyk, where he gave in.
At the light, turn left onto Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
Even though there was the controversy with the low blow, he still mentally fell apart. And then he redeems himself against Miller, who was very tough that night, kept coming. but Dubois redeemed himself. Miller got a chance for redemption. I am of the belief that unless you're a serial killer, or unless you're, you know, along the lines of doing bad things to children and a rapist or those just kind of crimes that are, you know, beneath the soul of any good human being. Beneath it. Unless you're one of those people, I believe that everyone has a shot or should get a shot for redemption if they're willing to pay the price. He paid the price. He paid the price in losing out
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Garner Road.
on all these things, then getting beat up by Dubois, you know, where he got concussed in that fight, and he comes back, he loses 30 pounds, he did something about it. He didn't just cry about it, he lost 30 pounds, he comes in this fight, and he represented him. This represented a chance to possibly get back, where it looked like he could never get back, to possibly get back to that mountain, a chance to climb that mountain again. And it's the great story of redemption. I love that story. I love it. And I was happy for him. Not that I was happy that Ruiz lost. No. But I was just happy for Miller. Ruiz was not in the best shape. You can see it. I think he took him for granted. I think he took him a little bit off the Dubois fight. Ruiz does have a problem with discipline as far as getting himself really in top shape. For him, I think he was in good enough shape for maybe the opponent he thought
At the light, turn right onto Garner Road.
he was facing. He didn't realize that he was fighting a better conditioned Miller who was determined. I don't think not that I feel sorry for him, because that's
Continue on Garner Road for 3/4 of a mile.
job to be ready for that. I'm not trying to put sympathy out there for Ruiz. I'm just telling you, from my perspective, I don't think he was ready physically or mentally for what Miller was ready to bring. Ruiz wasn't ready to bring that. And the first 3 rounds, Ruiz showed to be the better fighter. Faster hand, better technically, more versatile, setting traps, counter-punching, getting off first, inside, outside. He was showing spurts of being that talented fighter that Ruiz is. He's a talented fighter. But I was watching, and it reminded me, my son reminded me, Dad, this reminds me of your saying, watching a puddle on a hot summer day, and it starts to evaporate right in front of you. And I said, you're right, one. Ruiz became that puddle on a hot summer day, and he started evaporating. And Miller was the sun to evaporate. Miller knew what he wanted to do. He was going to apply pressure.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Bailey Drive.
The same way he did against Dubois, but it didn't work out as well. But he was going to apply pressure. He was in better shape this time. So with the pressure, he could move his hands more. He was going to apply pressure and try to evaporate Ruiz
Turn left onto Bailey Drive, then turn right onto Charles Street.
physically and emotionally and mentally. He was trying to impose his physicality and his will on Ruiz. Miller had a 300-pound guy coming at him from the first bell to the last bell for 12 rounds.
Take the next right onto Charles Street, then turn right onto Dobie Circle.
And it affected him. The first 3 rounds, like I said, Ruiz clearly the better fighter. Quicker hands, everything. And he lost.
Take the next right onto Dobie Circle, then you will arrive at your destination.
Miller lost the first 3 rounds. And he wasn't punching enough. He was being that
You have arrived.
Right here, good enough?
immovable object. But he was laying down a game plan. He was
All right, you have a
laying
good
down
one.
a gauntlet. He was laying down something that he thought would work for him, and he was right. A pattern to put in Ruiz's mind that I'm coming all night. And if you aren't in shape, you got a problem. If you're not ready, you got a problem. And he had a problem. He had a problem. The only problem is boxing has a bigger problem. Bad judges. I don't know if they're corrupt or they're just incompetent, but they hurt Miller. Now, some people say, Teddy, you shouldn't stand up for him. I'm standing up for any fighter that gets in that ring and deserves to have his damn hand raised and doesn't get it raised because of either corruption or incompetence. I'm standing up for him. I'm standing up for him. I'm standing up for him. And after the third round, Miller won every round. Yeah, I said it. Clear your ears out, people. You want to yell at me? You want to get mad at me? Go ahead. He won every round. Maybe one close one here and there. He started now pressing behind his jab. He started moving his hands. He started outworking Ruiz. He saw Ruiz was that proverbial, boulder going downhill. He pushed it. He pushed it downhill. And he took it more momentum to go downhill even